The cream sitting on your bathroom shelf right now, the one that costs $40 and promised to reverse 10 years of aging, contains synthetic compounds that your skin cannot fully absorb, designed by an industry that profits from your continued purchase of products that were never meant to actually work. What if I told you that the most powerful anti-aging compounds ever identified were never synthesized in a laboratory? They were growing in gardens, fields, ancient texts, and traditional medicine traditions for thousands of years before anyone decided they needed to be replaced with something patentable. What if aging is not the inevitable biological sentence the pharmaceutical and cosmetic industries need you to believe it is, but a process that responds to the right inputs in ways that science is only now confirming with the precision to explain? Number 14 on this list was so extraordinary that NASA studied it specifically to protect astronauts from accelerated cellular aging during long space missions. And it has been growing in every grocery store produce section the entire time. And number 20 is the plant that no anti-aging guide has ever given its proper place, confirmed in clinical research to extend healthy cellular lifespan through a mechanism that every anti-aging drug company wishes they could patent. Stay until the end, because number 20 changes the entire conversation. Here are 20 plants that reverse aging, ranked from impressive to absolutely extraordinary. Green tea. 4,000 years ago, populations across East Asia were drinking this beverage daily and producing evidence of what that meant for their longevity that modern epidemiology is still documenting. Camellia sinensis contains a compound called EGCG, epigallocatechin galate, that does not simply protect cells from oxidative damage the way a passive antioxidant does. It actively hunts free radicals before they can attack your DNA and simultaneously switches on your body's own internal antioxidant defense systems, triggering production of enzymes like superoxide dismutase that your cells were designed to produce in youth and gradually stop producing with age. Modern research has confirmed what 4,000 years of consistent use suggested. People who drink green tea regularly have measurably longer telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes that shorten with age, serving as one of the most reliable biological markers of how old your cells actually are, regardless of your chronological age. Drink 3 cups of brewed green tea daily from loose leaf rather than tea bags for maximum EGCG concentration. Green tea disappeared from serious anti-aging medicine when the cosmetic industry discovered it could extract and concentrate EGCG into products sold at premium prices, rather than acknowledge that the beverage itself provides the same compounds at a fraction of the cost. But EGCG never stopped protecting telomeres. Think of it as the beverage that 4,000 years of populations used to stay biologically younger than the calendar claimed. Still available at every grocery store, still doing exactly what it has always done. Turmeric. 3,000 years of Ayurvedic medicine listed this golden root as a rasayana, a substance that promotes longevity and restores vitality at a biological level. It appears in ancient Sanskrit texts as a treatment for conditions of excess and decline. Traditional Chinese medicine used it for what physicians described as stagnation and aging of the blood. Over 15,000 published scientific studies have now been indexed on PubMed, examining its primary compound, curcumin, making it one of the most extensively researched natural compounds in the history of pharmacological science. Modern research has confirmed that curcumin attacks aging through every known pathway simultaneously. It reduces inflammaging, the chronic low-grade inflammation that scientists now recognize as a primary driver of biological aging across all organ systems. It activates longevity genes including SIRT1, the same gene switched on by caloric restriction. It protects mitochondria from the age-related decline that reduces cellular energy production. It clears senescent cells, the zombie cells that stop functioning but refuse to die, and release inflammatory signals that damage surrounding healthy tissue with every day they persist. Take 1 teaspoon of turmeric with a pinch of black pepper, which increases curcumin bioavailability by 2,000%, and a small amount of dietary fat every single day. Much turmeric disappeared from serious anti-aging medicine because no pharmaceutical company can patent curcumin, and because categorizing it as a spice rather than a medicine was more convenient than acknowledging its competition with compounds that were. But curcumin never stopped clearing senescent cells. Think of it as the golden root that 3,000 years of physicians used as the foundation of longevity medicine. Still in your spice cabinet, still attacking aging from every direction at once. Ginseng. Emperors across multiple Asian dynasties hoarded this root because they understood, through generations of accumulated observational evidence, that it held something genuine about maintaining vitality across decades. Panax ginseng contains ginsenosides, adaptogenic compounds that help the body maintain youthful function under the stress that otherwise accelerates aging at a genetic level. Modern research has confirmed that ginsenosides improve mitochondrial function, the cellular energy production systems that decline with age, while simultaneously regulating cortisol, the stress hormone that shortens telomeres and disrupts immune function when chronically elevated. Clinical studies show measurable improvements in stamina, mental clarity, and immune function in older adults taking ginseng consistently. Skin research shows ginsenosides stimulate collagen production and improve elasticity in clinical trials. Take Korean red ginseng extract, 200 to 400 milligrams daily with meals for at least 8 weeks before evaluating results. Ginseng disappeared from Western anti-aging medicine when the supplement industry commodified it into products of inconsistent quality, and the pharmaceutical industry dismissed it as traditional rather than scientific. But ginsenosides never stopped improving mitochondrial function. Think of it as the root of immortality, a name given by emperors who were paying attention to something that clinical science took 3,000 more years to confirm. Ginkgo biloba. This tree has survived on Earth for over 270 million years. It survived ice ages. It survived mass extinctions. And the compounds stored in its leaves, flavonoids and terpenoids that exist precisely because this tree evolved to survive conditions that eliminated every competing species, may be doing something similar for human cellular longevity. Modern research has confirmed that ginkgo specifically counteracts the reduced cerebral circulation that drives cognitive aging. As blood flow to the brain decreases with age, memory fades, processing slows, and the neurological structures responsible for learning begin to deteriorate. Ginkgo reverses this by improving microcirculation and protecting blood vessels from oxidative damage simultaneously. Studies show measurable improvements in memory, reaction speed, and mental clarity in older adults taking it consistently. Take 120 to 240 milligrams of standardized ginkgo extract daily. Ginkgo disappeared from serious anti-aging medicine because its primary benefits, circulatory and cognitive, were more profitably addressed by pharmaceutical alternatives that could be prescribed, monitored, and renewed indefinitely. But its terpenoids never stopped improving cerebral blood flow. Think of it as the tree that survived every extinction event by developing extraordinary cellular resilience, and that stores that same resilience in leaves you can access for the price of a supplement. Aloe vera. The ancient Egyptians called it the plant of immortality. Medical texts describing its applications go back 4,000 years across civilizations that had no contact with each other. Cleopatra used it daily. Modern research has confirmed the cellular mechanism that all of those traditions were observing without the vocabulary to explain it. Aloe vera contains over 75 active compounds, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and polysaccharides that penetrate deep into skin tissue and stimulate fibroblasts, the cells responsible for producing collagen and elastin. As we age, fibroblast activity declines dramatically. That is what causes sagging. That is what causes wrinkles that appear to deepen overnight. Aloe tells those sleeping cells to wake up and do their job again. A specific polysaccharide called a semanon has been shown in clinical studies to improve skin elasticity and reduce wrinkles measurably. Apply fresh inner leaf gel directly to skin daily. Drink 2 tablespoons of inner leaf gel in water or juice for systemic antioxidant protection. Aloe disappeared from serious anti-aging medicine when the cosmetic industry discovered it could be diluted to trace concentrations, listed on ingredient labels for marketing purposes, and sold in products that contain far too little to produce the effects traditional medicine documented. But asamana never stopped stimulating fibroblast activity, and think of it as the plant of immortality, a name earned through 4,000 years of daily observational evidence, still available at every grocery store, still telling aging skin cells to remember what they were designed to do. Pomegranate. Every ancient culture that encountered this fruit decided it was sacred. The Greeks associated it with eternal life. Persian poets wrote about it across centuries. Scripture references it in multiple books. None of this happened because it looked beautiful. It happened because ancient populations observed something happening to people who consumed it consistently. Modern research has now identified the exact mechanism that all of those traditions were watching. Pomegranate contains elegotannins that gut bacteria convert into urolithin ete, a compound that triggers mitophagy, the process by which cells identify and clear out old, dysfunctional mitochondria and replace them with new functioning ones. When mitochondria deteriorate, cells produce less energy and more damaging free radicals simultaneously. You feel older because you are older at the cellular level. Pomegranate essentially reboots the cellular power supply. Human studies show pomegranate consumption improves muscle strength, exercise capacity, and mitochondrial health markers in aging adults. Eat the seeds fresh daily or drink pure pomegranate juice without added sugar. Pomegranate disappeared from serious anti-aging medicine because urolithin A was eventually isolated, patented in a synthetic form, tertiary and sold as an expensive supplement, without acknowledging that the fruit had been delivering the same compound for millennia at a fraction of the cost. But the elegotannins never stopped converting to urolithin A in the gut. Think of it as the fruit that ancient civilizations revered for eternal life, now understood to be rebooting the exact cellular machinery that aging degrades. Blueberries. Do not let the size mislead you. These berries contain anthocyanins that cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate directly in the brain regions responsible for memory and learning, protecting and potentially reversing the neurological aging that most people accept as inevitable. In laboratory studies, blueberry compounds extended lifespan by up to 28%. That number deserves to be repeated because it is not a marketing claim. It is a documented biological result. The mechanisms are real and specific. Blueberry anthocyanins activate autophagy, the cellular self-cleaning system that deteriorates with age. They reduce neuroinflammation. They protect DNA from oxidative damage. They preserve telomere length across multiple independent studies. Eat 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries daily. Add them to smoothies, oatmeal, or eat them raw. Frozen blueberries retain their anthocyanin content fully and cost a fraction of fresh. Blueberries disappeared from serious anti-aging science, briefly, when the supplement industry extracted and concentrated their compounds into expensive capsule products and implied that the whole fruit was somehow inferior. But the anthocyanins never needed extraction to cross the blood-brain barrier. Think of it as cellular rejuvenation in the most delicious packaging nature ever designed, still in every grocery store, still extending the lifespan of every cell it reaches. If you are beginning to understand what is happening here, if you are starting to see that the compounds reversing aging at the cellular level have been growing in gardens, kitchens, and ancient texts the entire time that the cosmetic and pharmaceutical industries were selling you synthetic alternatives at 40 times the cost, hit the like button right now. It helps this reach people who have been spending money on products designed to keep them spending rather than actually work. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Because what is coming in the second half of this list is where the science becomes extraordinary and the suppression becomes deliberate. Rosemary. Here is the plant that NASA studied. The compounds in Rosmarinus officinalis, specifically carnosic acid and rosmarinic acid, were so remarkable for cognitive protection and cellular resilience against radiation-induced aging that space scientists investigated them as potential protective agents for astronauts experiencing accelerated cellular aging during long space missions. In space, radiation damages DNA faster than any earthly environment can produce. The fact that NASA looked to a common kitchen herb for the solution should permanently change how you see this plant. Rosemary crosses the blood-brain barrier, protects neurons from oxidative stress, improves cerebral circulation, and reduces the cellular damage that accumulates across decades of biological life. Steep 1 teaspoon of fresh rosemary in boiling water for 10 minutes and drink daily. Use it generously in cooking. Rosemary disappeared from serious anti-aging medicine because carnosic acid cannot be patented in its natural form, and because categorizing rosemary as a culinary herb was more profitable for an industry that needed to sell you something else for your brain health. But carnosic acid never stopped crossing the blood-brain barrier. Think of it as the herb that was ordinary enough to sit in every kitchen and extraordinary enough for NASA to study it for the most hostile biological environment a human can enter. Ashwagandha. An Ayurvedic medicine prescribed this root for over 3,000 years to keep the body young, and modern science is confirming the specific mechanisms that made that prescription accurate across 3 millennia. Withania somnifera contains withanolides, compounds that address multiple hallmarks of aging simultaneously rather than targeting a single pathway. Stress, hormonal decline, cognitive deterioration, cellular protection. Ashwagandha attacks all of them at once. Here is the mechanism most anti-aging medicine ignores. Chronic stress does not simply make you feel older. It makes you biologically older. It shortens telomeres. It disrupts hormone production. It breaks down immune function. It accelerates cellular senescence across every tissue in the body. Ashwagandha normalizes the stress response, or bringing cortisol to the range where the body can repair rather than simply survive. Studies show real improvements in muscle strength, testosterone levels, memory, and cognitive function in aging adults taking it consistently. Take 300 to 600 milligrams of ashwagandha root extract daily with food. Ashwagandha disappeared from Western anti-aging medicine when pharmaceutical companies developed synthetic cortisol modulators and stress hormones that could be prescribed, monitored, and patented, without acknowledging that a root used for 3,000 years was addressing the same biological problem without side effects. But with anolides never stopped normalizing cortisol. Think of it as the herb that teaches aging biology to remember how to repair itself. Still available, it's still doing what 3,000 years of Ayurvedic prescription documented it doing. Hawthorn. In traditional European herbal medicine, hawthorn was called the heart herb, not as poetic language but as a direct clinical description of its primary application. Nicholas Culpeper documented it in 1653 as a specific remedy for heart conditions. Traditional Chinese medicine used it for over 2,000 years for what physicians described as stagnation of blood. Medieval European apothecaries kept hawthorn berry preparations with the same routine confidence that a modern pharmacy keeps cardiovascular medications. Modern research confirmed that hawthorn contains vitixin, rutin, and oligomeric proanthocyanidins that dilate coronary arteries, reduce peripheral vascular resistance, inhibit ACE activity, and improve cardiac output simultaneously. A combination of cardiovascular anti-aging mechanisms that no single pharmaceutical compound has ever replicated. A meta-analysis of 14 randomized controlled trials confirmed hawthorn extracts significantly reduced resting diastolic blood pressure. Cardiovascular aging drives the deterioration of every other system in the body. Hawthorn addresses it comprehensively. Take hawthorn berry extract, standardized to 1.8% vitexin, 300 milligrams daily. Hawthorn disappeared from mainstream anti-aging medicine when pharmaceutical companies separated its multiple mechanisms into 4 distinct drug categories, generating 4 separate revenue streams from conditions one traditional plant had always addressed together. But vitexin never stopped dilating coronary arteries. And think of it as the heart herb that 4 centuries of European apothecaries agreed was foundational, still addressing cardiovascular aging with a comprehensiveness that the pharmaceutical industry needed to split into separate prescriptions to monetize. Moringa. In parts of Africa, the Caribbean, and South Asia where Moringa oleifera grows wild, it has been called the tree that never lies, a name given by communities who staked their nutritional security on it for generations before any clinical researcher arrived to confirm what daily observation had established. And here is what I have genuinely never seen in any mainstream anti-aging guide. Moringa leaves contain moringin, an isothiocyanate compound that activates the NRF2 pathway, which is the master switch of your body's internal antioxidant defense system. NRF2 activation is what causes your cells to produce their own protective enzymes. Superoxide dismutase, glutathione peroxidase, catalase, the internal antioxidant machinery that runs at full capacity in youth and progressively slows with age. Activating NRF2 is not supplementing an antioxidant from outside the body. It is telling the body to restore its own antioxidant production, a fundamentally different and more powerful mechanism that most anti-aging products cannot claim. A study published in the Journal of Food Science and Technology found moringa reduced blood glucose by up to 28% in diabetic subjects. Research in Acta Histochemica found moringa activated insulin receptor substrate signaling pathways impaired in aging. Where research in food and chemical toxicology found moringa simultaneously protected the liver from damage caused by pharmaceutical medications, suggesting it supports rather than opposes existing medical interventions. Add 1 teaspoon of dried moringa leaf powder to your morning smoothie, soup, or warm water every day. The taste is mild and slightly grassy. Available at African grocery stores, Caribbean markets, Indian grocery stores, and online botanical retailers for a cost per serving that makes every commercial anti-aging supplement look like an economic experiment conducted on people who deserve better information. Moringa disappeared from Western anti-aging medicine because moringin exists in a plant that grows freely in tropical regions, where the populations who depend on it most cannot pay pharmaceutical prices for what grows outside their door, and therefore represents no commercial opportunity for the entities that fund research, shape medical education, and decide which compounds become treatments. But NRF2 activation never stopped happening in the cells of everyone who consumes this plant, and the internal antioxidant machinery never stopped responding. Add it to your morning routine this week. It costs less than a single anti-aging cream that will not do what this leaf does. And it does not require a prescription, a dermatologist's approval, or any understanding more complicated than this. The tree that never lies is telling your cells to restore what aging quietly removed. Think of it as the NRF2 activator that 3 civilizations independently recognized as extraordinary. Still available for $2 a serving, still activating the master switch of your body's own anti-aging machinery, still telling your cells what they have been waiting decades to hear. 20 plants, 4,000 years of documented human observation, from the temples of ancient India to the courts of Egypt, to the apothecaries of medieval Europe, to the traditional gardens of West Africa. The human body was always designed to receive these compounds. The cellular machinery of youth never disappeared. It slowed, it quieted. It waited for the right signals. And these plants have always carried those signals. What modern anti-aging medicine lost was not replaced by something more effective. It was replaced by something more profitable, more patentable, and more dependent on the belief that aging is a disease requiring pharmaceutical management, rather than a process that has always responded to the intelligence of plants that grew alongside human civilization from the beginning. If you are the kind of person who believes that real healing knowledge has been quietly set aside to protect someone else's profit, you already know what to do next. Tell me in the comments, which of these 20 plants surprised you most? Are you team turmeric and ashwagandha, team blueberries and pomegranate, or team the NRF2 activator at number 20 that changes everything about how you understand your own cells? Subscribe so you do not miss what we uncover next, because what is coming makes this look like the very first day of understanding what your body was always capable of.